Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there, as this will be our final show before the big Thanksgiving holiday. It's also going to be a Remember Wednesday presented by Fayetteville Fly Co. So we'll get in a little bit of that, looking back on some various things that happened over the Thanksgiving week. We'll get to hear a little bit from Big Z. We'll talk a little Missouri football, especially Drinkwitz being a moron. And we'll get to your chats as well as your phone calls. And you can call in at 478-344-6623. But fellas, it's good to see you on a Wednesday. It doesn't feel like a Wednesday with the holiday tomorrow, but Thanksgiving Eve. There's a lot worse holidays to celebrate than Thanksgiving Eve right now.
Yeah, that's very true. And I didn't know until I was well into my adult years that Thanksgiving Eve was really a thing. Like people, they go back home or whatever to visit family and they just go out to the local watering hole and get, lathered up. So that's cool. I don't know that I'll be doing that because I'm driving to Kansas City in the morning, but yeah, the vibes are good, man. It's been a weird week, short week, which I like. And there's a lot of good basketball on, and we got the best of Arkansas athletics coming up the next few days.
Yeah, I also will not be participating in that tradition, but it is absolutely the thing, Thanksgiving Eve. That's where, you got to be back in your hometown. You have to see like your ex-girlfriend that you haven't seen for 20 years. You've got to run into everyone that you really didn't want to run into, have the awkward small talk conversation with the guy where you're like, yo, man, what have you been up to for the last 11 years, man? What's been going on, Shout out to our guy Angel, a legendary chatter, by the way, who says he's thinking about sending his ex a gift from Temu for Christmas. But yeah, this is Thanksgiving Eve. I feel like is the ultimate run into your ex holiday. I feel like it's the Super Bowl of running into your ex or friends from hometown.
Yeah, it's like every Luke Combs song that was ever made.
Great. Well, you guys have just ruined my Thanksgiving already because I can't wait to run into my exes tomorrow. I didn't know that was a thing, but hopefully that's not the case. But for those of you who may be wondering, though, it does have a name, Thanksgiving Eve. Some refer to it as Drinksgiving, and others refer to it as a Blackout Wednesday instead of a Black Friday. So if you're celebrating whichever name and holiday you go by, drink responsibly and be sure to call an Uber whenever you are ending up going home. So, but yeah, we'll have some fun with that. We'll talk some Thanksgiving stuff too. But of course, with Arkansas having a lot of sports going on, we mentioned the Thanksgiving Day against Illinois in basketball. But last night when we were at the Leroy, we did a simulation of Arkansas and Missouri in the Battle Line Rivalry, and ended up being an incredible game. Actually, going to overtime, Arkansas lost because that's what they do in Como and against Missouri in general. But still, there's this old talk about this rivalry, and is it a rivalry? And if Razorback fans care about it, well, here's the thing. This really got some attention last night, and I'm just going to play the video, and it's very simple to play because this is Eli Drinkwitz talking about Arkansas quarterback Talon Green.
I may mispronounce his name, but Talon Green.
That's all I wanted to play. Okay, here's the thing. This guy is absolute clown shoes to the highest order. And the fact that anybody, because I had a lot of Missouri fans I mentioned last night because I called him a douche because he's a douche. But the fact that anybody would sit back like, oh, sorry, he even was trying to pronounce his name correctly and he didn't do it right. I mean, what do you want the guy to do? Talon Green it's not like it's Big Z's name, Zvonimir Visic. Like, it's not that. It's Talon Green. And this is the type of crap that just really makes me hate. Not Missouri. I don't hate Missouri. I hate Eli Drinkwitz. I think that's really what it's about right now.
Well, I mean, it was either a scripted move or he's an idiot. Like Missouri fans, which one do you want it to be? Because it's very clear and concise in the way it's spelled and the way it's pronounced. Like, it's not that complicated. And it was pretty funny because somebody hit me on Twitter, some Missouri guy, somebody works in the news over there or something, was like, "Oh, it's very interesting that you're only posting certain parts of the clip, and here's the rest of what he said about Arkansas being a well-coached team or whatever." And first of all, I didn't post the damn clip. I responded to somebody who did, so that guy's an idiot too. Second of all, it doesn't matter. It's not that hard to pronounce the quarterback's name appropriately. It was just another one of his moves. He did it on purpose. It was calculated. This is what he does. He tries to drum it up, and I will give him credit for getting Razorback fans more riled up and excited for this football game than Sam Pitman is, because that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, it was absolutely intentional. And look, it's either one of two things. It was like you said, it's either intentional or dumb. I'm not saying Taylor Green is like a household name that just everyone in the world is like, oh yeah, I know that guy. But if you've watched college football this year, you've watched SEC football in particular, you're familiar with Taylor Green, which again is not like a hard name to pronounce. So I don't know why Eli Drinkwitz, like if he's trying to sell us on the idea that he genuinely has not heard of Taylor Green the Monday before or the Tuesday before they play Arkansas. I mean, sure, you could go for that, I guess. I don't know what that's supposed to do, but it was very clearly he's trying to poke fun, trying to ruffle some feathers, which he clearly did. But yeah, I agree. I'm glad this game has a little bit of juice. And Curtis, we've talked a lot about Drinkwitz being a villain and is he a good villain or not? I actually don't think he's that good of a villain, but he clearly is a villain. And I typically find myself gravitating for the bad guy. I like cheering for the bad guy. But man, something about Eli Drinkwitz just it comes across as inauthentic and weird, and I don't like it.
Well, yeah, when you look like moral oral and you're trying to be the bad guy, that's when it's hard to believe in it. So it's just it's cringy. It's not authentic.
This right here, guys. Taylen is Taylor Green's name. I'm not saying I would have accepted it, but even if he said Taylon Green, like when it was the whole thing between Traylon and Traylon, then I still think it would be dumb. But Talon Green is what you thought that said. Taylen. Boy, that's that Alma, Arkansas education at its finest, if I could ever say it. I mean, it's like you guys said, it's so inauthentic. It's so on purpose. It's so cringy where it kind of reminds me, and I'm going to get dirty here because I am a nerd, but it reminds me of the Superman versus Batman movies when they're like, hey, we're going to get Lex Luthor in here. It's like, oh, great villain. I love that guy. But then get Jesse Eisenberg, and you're like, man, this guy's trying way too hard to be bad, and he's not very good at it, and it's not very believable. That's kind of what Eli Drinkwitz reminds me of. He wants to be the villain. He's been casted as a villain, and people really don't like him as the villain, but it has nothing to do with him being a good villain. He's a bad villain, not very good at it. And you hate him because of that fact, not because he is the villain. It's just because he's so bad at it, and it's so cringy, and it comes off as so inauthentic.
Yeah, it really does. And I feel like, Andrew, we should have thought about this before we recorded Pod That Nature, because I feel like we're going to give away some of our takes. We won't give them all away. We pre-recorded something for you guys to for the preview of this game, but it's almost like this. It's like the good versus evil thing, but it's opposite day with Arkansas football and Missouri football. It doesn't make any damn sense, John, because on one hand you've got Eli Drinkwitz, who is just going out of his way to do those things and all those things you just mentioned. But they love him over there, man. Like he's got full buy-in from the team, from the fan base and everything else. And then you have Sam Pitman, who is like the epitome of the good guy, easy to root for, relatable, down to earth dude, players, kind of a player's coach type of dude. And at the same time, now he's becoming like increasingly more passive aggressive with media. He's going on it's almost like he has a quota of the amount of Razorback fans that he has to block on Twitter every day. And so it's like you have the guy that's easy to hate that everybody loves, and then you have the guy that's easy to love that people are starting to hate. It makes no damn sense to me at all.
Well, and that's why I feel like this weekend's game is kind of the opportunity for Sam Pitman to get back in the good graces of not only Arkansas fans, but nationally become that darling. Because we refer to him as such, that he is kind of that guy that everyone, if you're objective and you don't have an affiliation in the SEC, if you're just a Big Ten football fan and you look at the SEC, you're like, oh, Sam Pitman, I like that guy. And so I think this would be a good opportunity if you go out there and beat a very clear villain that I don't think anybody in college football really likes. Which, by the way, that's not even me like throwing a shot at Missouri. Like if you're Missouri, you should like that we don't like Eli Drinkwitz. You should like that he's talking trash to all these guys. You should like that he's pissed off every fan base. So I'm sure he's like cool with that role. But I think this would be a good chance for Sam Pittman's PR if he could go out there and take down the villain. And by the way, for any Missouri fans that are lurking, which don't seem like there's many Missouri fans that lurk as much as like Kentucky basketball. I know it's easy to see this and be like, oh, well, y'all just don't like Drink because he beats you every year. No, believe it or not, like that really, there's a lot of teams that beat Arkansas every year.
Yep.
That really don't bother me that much, frankly. And like for like last year's game, like it really didn't like burn me up too bad. It was disappointing the way Arkansas played. But weirdly enough, the stuff that I hate about Drinkwitz really has nothing to do with the games that Missouri and Arkansas play against one another, because there's been plenty of coaches over the years that beat Arkansas regularly that I didn't feel this way toward.
Yeah, I think Nick Saban's a great example, considering Arkansas did not beat him for 20 straight years, essentially. They never beat Kevin Sumlin, but I don't think anybody feels a certain way about Kevin Sumlin when he was at Texas A&M. Yeah, it's just it has nothing to do with the wins and the losses. It has to do with just the personality traits that come out. But I do agree that if you're going to try to be a villain, kind of like what Drinkwitz or whatever he is trying to be, then yeah, if you're a Missouri fan, you love it. It's kind of the same way Razorback fans felt about Eric Musselman, where I was like, man, if Eric Musselman wasn't my coach, I'd hate that dude. And I would want him to fail miserably, and I'd want to beat him so bad. And when he's your guy, and if he's at least having success with it, it makes it a little bit different. But the unique thing about this year's game, guys, and maybe there's another time where this was the case, this is about as evenly matched going into the game I feel like it's been with Arkansas and Missouri. Normally, it's been Missouri is a much better team, and Arkansas still loses. Or Arkansas has been a better team, and then Arkansas still ends up losing. But it's like, this is the time where I could see Arkansas winning. I really could. Like, if you told me that Arkansas was going to be in this game and win this game, I'd be like, yeah, I could see them being the better team on Saturday. But I could also see Missouri winning this game too, because they are a team that haven't played a really tough schedule or anything, but still got some quality players. Luther Burden's awesome. Like, they got some talent. So this is going to be a weird thing where I don't think it's going to be a major upset if either team wins this game, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, it definitely won't. Could see it going either way. And I mean, Missouri's got home field advantage, and they're just was it 2.5 point favorite right now?
Roughly.
Maybe when I looked earlier today. So yeah, not a lot of separation there. It's gonna be, when you get to the end of the year like this, especially when teams like neither one of them are going to the college football playoff or playing for an SEC title or anything like that. So who's able to get their team up to play more for this game, right? And it's probably a little bit easier for Drink at Missouri, because like they could still get to a 10-win season. It's, senior day, they're undefeated at home or whatever. And for Arkansas, really, it's just, we really need to beat this dude, and we've never done it there. It's like, that's your motivation. So I hope that this is not one of those deals where, well, actually, I don't care if Missouri's motivated or not. I hope that Arkansas is, and I hope that they come out ready to play, because there's just such a clear difference in this team when they're locked in and when they're not. When they're locked in, they're pretty damn good. I mean, we've seen it at home and on the road that they can compete with anybody. But when they're not, man, it gets ugly. And Drink is the kind of dude who would put a hurting on them if they're not ready to play. So we'll see. The interesting thing, there's been some ass whippings in this series recently, but it hasn't happened at Missouri. The last 2 games there have been decided by 2 points. And
I'll save my full soliloquy for Remember Wednesday when we get into the weeds of this sucker. But I've been thinking about that 2022 game a lot, because John, you mentioned how a lot of the games have been one team is very much better than the other, and Arkansas loses no matter what. That 2022 game is kind of like the one time where you had a 5-6 Missouri team and a 6-5 Arkansas team, and Missouri was the team that had all the motivation. They needed that game more than Arkansas. They went out there and got it. And so I think it's kind of time for Arkansas to be that spoiler. A little bit different situation because Arkansas has already clinched bowl eligibility, but you used the word motivation, Curtis. Arkansas should have all the motivation in the world. Like, there's no excuse in this game for not getting up for this one. Like, if you come out flat in this game, you don't get to play the talent card because you're playing against Missouri. You don't get to play the, it's just a different level program, the NIL, blah, blah, blah. You don't get to play that card either because that's Missouri. You don't get to play we just overlooked them, because they have no motivation in this game. Missouri, what's the difference between 8-4, 9-3? There really is none, especially coming off the year they had. Like, they're all sunshine and rainbows. They could very easily afford to lose this game, and Arkansas technically could too, but there should be a lot of humongous chip on Arkansas's shoulder. So if they come out flat in that game, it's going to be really tough to swallow. I would love to see Arkansas really take this matchup personally.
So let me ask you guys this. Do you think, get into the minds of the Missouri fan, which I know is a dangerous game to play, but would you be disappointed in this season if you're a Missouri fan for Missouri? Like, are you disappointed so far with being 8-3 at this point?
A little bit, yeah, because I mean, they're not Alabama or Georgia or whoever. Like, there's only going to be a finite number of opportunities where they can be a college football playoff team. this is about as golden of an opportunity as they had, just with the talent they had coming back from the success they had last year, and the schedule that just set up very beautifully for them. And so they have underachieved from that standpoint. And so I'm sure there's some disappointment there. At the same time, they are 8-3, and they are still ranked in the college football playoff top 25. They could get back-to-back 10-win seasons. You can be disappointed in a season and not worried about the trajectory or the status of your program. And I think that's kind of where they're at. Like, missed opportunity, that sucks, but still, in the right direction with your head coach and what you got going on there.
Yeah, I think this game honestly will be a big determining factor, because if you lose this game, you lose to your quote unquote rival, and you fall to 8-4, which 8-4, there's no, 8-4 in the SEC, that's every team should be thrilled with that, frankly. But given their schedule, it's a little bit different. And like you said, Curtis, not many opportunities for a program like in a Missouri or an Arkansas, or even honestly like an Ole Miss or Mississippi State. You're not going to be in that playoff mix every year. Missouri was kind of in that mix last year. If it would have been a 12 team, they would have definitely been in it. And they had a nice little chance they had a nice little path toward it. And so, look, I think there's probably a little bit of a minor disappointment, but like you said, if they win this game, win a bowl game, and they finish 10-3, I don't think too many people in Como are going to lose too much sleep over it, or at all be worried about the big picture direction of the program. But if you lose this game, you kind of give some breathing room, you give some life to Arkansas. I think it would be a realization where people realize, hey, we had an awesome year last year, but we're not that much better than the mediocre teams in this conference. So I think this game is actually kind of a big one for Missouri from that standpoint, to kind of solidify them as a top tier college football program in the SEC, rather than the Arkansas level of still kind of with the misfits a little bit. This could be Missouri's chance to graduate from misfit category for a little bit.
I'll say this about Missouri, because I'm trying to put it into the perspective of if Arkansas had last season like Missouri did, and then this season, I would be pissed. I would be upset, because you went 11-2 last season. You beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. It was one of your best years you've had. Your two losses was 10 points to LSU, who had the Heisman Trophy winner on their team, and the other one was on the road against Georgia. You lost by 9. Those are the two losses you had. You played Kansas State in the non-conference, which was a lot better. You played teams like Kentucky, who was much better, South Carolina, who was really good, Florida, who was average at best. But still, you have that, and then you return everybody. You killed it in the portal, and then if I would have saw the schedule Arkansas that Missouri had, and it was Arkansas schedules this year, coming off of an 11-2 season and seeing everybody come back, I'm like, oh, if we don't make the playoff this year, I'm going to be pissed, because it was set up so golden for you, and it hasn't happened. And again, it's just funny to me that if a Missouri fan sit back, and again, you can, get 8-3, possibly 9-3, or 8-4. It's not a bad season.
No, it's not a bad season.
It's not a bad season, but for me, I would be upset knowing that you had all the potential to get you into the playoff, and you really didn't even come close to some of the teams that you lost to. A&M beat the brakes off of you. Bama beat the brakes off of you, and you had a pathway. Because honestly, guys, if they have only lost 2 games, I'm not saying they would for sure get into the playoff, but they'd at least be in contention for it. But you lost 3 of them. I would be frustrated by it. I would be pissed by it, but then I'm pissed about everything. So
I was going to say Arkansas fans are pissed about everything, but they would probably switch places with Mizzou's situation pretty easily.
It's not that hard to talk yourself into it being a very good season now, especially if they win this Arkansas game. This Arkansas game is a little bit of you can really make that argument if they lose, but if they beat Arkansas and finish 10-3, we can sit here and pretend like that's a season to be disappointed by. Even with their schedule, you go 10-3. Ain't nobody going to be cracking jokes at Drinkwitz this offseason.
Yeah. And it is definitely a missed opportunity.
No, for sure. But also it's we can lie. Missouri's not at a playoff or bust situation. Arkansas is not at a playoff or bust situation. Hell, even Ole Miss, they'll be very disappointed not making the playoff, but it's I think they'll sleep okay at night with the 10-3 season.
Who should be more disappointed in their season? A Missouri team who did what they did last year and ran it back with the easiest schedule in modern history that fell short, or an Ole Miss team that went out and did the Louis Vuitton thing and then
Easily.
fell short.
Easily Ole Miss.
I still think Ole
Easily.
Miss, they
Because-
went all in on this being a year.
And
Yeah.
not only that, but you beat Georgia.
Very true.
Like it's not like you just ran into the good teams and they beat you. You beat Georgia, but you lost to Kentucky at home.
Yeah.
None of it makes sense.
You got Napiered.
Yeah,
Well,
you lost to Florida.
That's another problem with Missouri, where like they got their ass whipped in the games that they lost, except for the South Carolina game, which was kind of close. But even that South Carolina game, I want to say they were 14-point underdogs going into that game. And I know Brady Cook's status was up in the air. Honestly, those 3 losses, other than getting your ass kicked, it's like those were kind of supposed to happen. I think with Ole Miss, that's what's tough about it is they won the games that were like the tough ones and then slipped on 2 banana peels, really 3, because LSU's freaking 6-4.
Yeah, man. I still laugh at Ole Miss. That one's funny to me. I still get a kick out of it and the fact that they're going to be missing out on the playoffs, but still. The Battle Line Rivalry, it's on 2:30 on Saturday, and we're going to do the Pot of That Nature post-game show, so be sure to tune in on that. But the question is, guys, I know we're going to move on to other things, get to phone calls and chats and all that. If Arkansas wins, it's a big if, Arkansas wins, does it make the season a success? Getting at 7-5, 4-4 in SEC play.
Yes,
I think so, for sure.
I think so.
I do too.
I'm there.
I do too. And I'll be the right one. Y'all are going to be the wrong ones. I'm the one that predicted 7-5, and y'all were the haters, and you hated the Hogs. You didn't embrace it. Nailed it. Not the wins and losses specifically, but the 7-5 record. You'll take it. But that's what's just so
Does
weird.
that mean you're over it with the Sam Pittman thing?
As in over Sam Pittman or over wanting him gone?
Over wanting him gone, or
no.
over thinking he should be gone? Whatever.
Yeah, overthinking that it should be done. Yes.
Okay.
Just because it's like we got to live in that reality of going from 4-8, 1-7 in SEC play to going to 7-5, 4-4 in SEC play in one single year.
Oh yeah.
You got to give credit where credit is due.
The potential would be there for them to double their win total if they win the bowl. I get the frustration or whatever, but he legitimately would have a chance then to put together the type of season that would be more in line with the expectations that people have for the program. 8 wins. You'd like to get in the regular season or whatever, but
yeah,
right.
And this is not us planting our damn flag.
No.
Like at some point you gotta, like you said, like just kind of embrace reality instead of a narrative or something.
Yeah. And
You go into an offseason with a bid. And sometimes that bid is, hey, we got a bunch of returning starters. We're going to be better. It was a down year, but blah, blah, blah. Every team has like a narrative that they're trying to sell themselves on. Whatever Arkansas's narrative is going to be, you kind of like it'll be a lot easier to sell me on it if they win this game. If you lose this game and you're 6-6 and you really kind of fell apart down the stretch a little bit, it's hard to sell me on the idea of like, oh yeah, things are heading up. But if you beat Missouri, win the bowl game, I guess that would mean Arkansas won like 3 of their last 4 games, or I guess would have won their last 3 games. You could kind of sell me on it, and it's a little bit easier to make that case. It's really hard to make the case of an upward trajectory if Arkansas finishes 6-6, really.
Yeah. And it is a must win for the Pitman PR campaign. It really is, because like we've talked about, Andrew, it's if you get your ass beat, it's like, really, so and then it really kind of hammers home they just had to beat Louisiana Tech and that was good enough kind of deal. Fell apart at the end of the season again. Or if you could go up there and ball out in the snow and lose by 1 possession, and it's there we go again, another 1-score loss. He can't do it. He's got to win.
Yep. And that's where really my point was coming to, because even throwing this into the mix, guys, in the final 6 games of the regular season, you're telling me that going 2-4 is going to make you feel good with wins over Mississippi State and Louisiana Tech, that's going to make you feel, oh yeah, no, but going 3-3, where yes, you beat Mississippi State and Louisiana Tech, but you did finally beat Missouri up there in Columbia, a top 25 team, and then your losses were to LSU, Ole Miss, and Texas. Say whatever you want about it, but still, that's a lot more. It's a lot easier to deal with, and it's a lot easier to understand. Where it's like, we wish we would have beat that Oklahoma State team, and maybe we should have beaten Texas or Texas A&M. You were in a good position, but hey. You improved. You went the right direction. But the only weird thing about it, guys, is even if Arkansas did that, I consider it a success. I consider it a good season. Not great, not elite, but just a solid season. I have zero belief that there will be anything better next year. Like, 7-5 this year. I could think they could go 8-4. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Next year is just going to be about, okay, that was good, but this year, man, this schedule, going 6-6, 7-5 may be too much to ask, just given the circumstances.
That's what sucks about it, because then is it all of a sudden going to become acceptable? You know?
Yeah. I mean,
going to be able to have that perspective. I don't think so. And that's why this entire ordeal is so fascinating. But yeah, Saturday's a big one, man. It's literally all about at the end of the game, like which direction that needle's pointing, you know, is it 6 to midnight or is it dick in the dirt? I mean, it's going to be one of the two. So,
well, and I mean, look, if they're running it back with Sam Pittman, which we all kind of agree, whatever you think is like the bare minimum that he has to accomplish next year, I think it changes based on this. If Arkansas goes 6-6, they lose this, let's say they lose to Missouri by 8 and they maybe win the toilet bowl and they go 7-6. A lot of fans would be like, you got to win like 8 regular season games minimum. Whereas if you win this game, you're 7-5, maybe 8-5 with a bowl game. It's like, I feel like there's less pressure on next year. Now next year is going to be a very pressure filled year, no matter what. But with that schedule, you don't want to be in a position where it's like, hey, you got to go minimum 7-5, 8-4 with that schedule. I think Arkansas needs to buy themselves as much breathing room as possible with this game, with the portal, with the bowl game. Like, you really need to build some goodwill with that fan base.
Yeah, I know we got some things that we're trying to get to, but can I bring something semi-related up real quick?
Absolutely.
I don't know if you guys, and I didn't read the whole article yet, but The Athletic, I guess, had a piece about just Arkansas football and if Sam's done enough and, just kind of whatever. But one of the things that was in there was talking about Bobby Petrino and how he is a name that's going to be surfacing for some of these group of 5 jobs. And so, like, there's no guarantee that he's coming back for a second year. Does anybody else have that vibe? I mean, I'm not plugged into the group of 5 coaching searches, but that hadn't even crossed my mind.
I have a hard time believing that Bobby is going to be like super interested in doing that.
And unless his life is miserable right now under Sam Pittman, which I don't see how it could be, considering it's not the Jimbo situation where he's just micromanaging Bobby Petrino the entire time. And it's not like the staffers or his offensive staff is problematic, because it's literally the guys, well, at least 2 of them are guys that he brought in personally at the running back coach as well as the wide receiver coach. So if he's trying to go somewhere else, I'm like, it can't be because you're unsatisfied, because I feel like you've been set up for success. But I don't know. Why would you want to be a head coach again? It seemed like he was very much, I'm not trying to be a head coach again. I just want to coach quarterbacks and offense. Yeah. And I am totally fine doing it. And I'm totally fine doing it here in Fayetteville. I just don't see him being a head coach again.
No, he gets so much credit for literally any success he has here at Arkansas. Like literally, we still have people like to this day in the chat that are like, make him the head coach at Arkansas. So it's like, I think this is the best possible situation for all of those factors, for like just job status, happiness, control the offense, not having a ton of pressure, positive PR. Like, this is at an all-time high for a guy in his circumstances.
He's just like, I'm just looking forward to being in the quarterback meeting rooms. I don't give a damn about NIL and all that. Like, he said that, and so it's just, that's why it surprised me to see that in that article. And I don't know, like, we'll see if anything comes of it. Probably not. I have not had that vibe at all.
That might be Petrino's agent working double time.
Yeah,
I don't believe it at all. But our guy, Bobby Bones, actually tweeted at us about when we were discussing the successful season at 7-5-4-4. He goes, success, no, but not a failure. Only if we have something positive that comes from it, like an extremely positive portal, good recruiting class, whatever. But otherwise, it's just going to be the same thing next year.
Well, okay, you can make that argument, sure, but I can't play revisionist history too much, because literally preseason, nobody would have argued if we had said, hey, Arkansas goes 7-5 this year. Is that a success? Literally 0 people would have been like, no, you got to go more than 7-5. Like, they went 4-8 last year. And look, I'm not saying that should define success every year, and that should always be. But given the context of where Arkansas's program's at, where they were at coming into the season, we can lie, but preseason, we all would have signed up for 7-5.
Yeah. I guess my thing is to his point, and I agree. Going 7, it's about if you're looking at the long-term game or the long game, going 7-5, yes, is a successful season. But if it just means, okay, there's nothing to build upon it. There's no, like, okay, the next year, because of the schedule, if you don't have a good portal, you're going to go 5-7 or whatever. It's like that 7-5 season is meaningless. It's vanity. And in the minds of everybody. But yes, in its own existence, individually, in a microcosm, yes, it is a successful season. And and if anybody says otherwise, then you're just really wanting Sam Pittman to be fired. Like that's what it comes down to. You can, like you said, Andrew, there was not a single soul that was out there saying, oh man, if we go 7-5, 4-4, that dude better be fired. It'll just be terrible. Like that's not going to happen.
That's just a separate conversation. What can they do with this? Because I think there's absolutely a world in which Arkansas goes 7-5 and then still fumbles it all in the portal and doesn't really round out the roster well. And then you go into the next year could still be worse. But that's almost like a separate conversation. Right. Like I think it's because the same could be said if they go 6-6. They could go 6-6 and then do something crazy in the portal and end up being great. So it's like it kind of works both ways. But one game at a time, one season at a time.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I know we'll get to a phone call in your chat, folks, here. But, guys, over under one, I say, no, I'll put it at 2.5. 2.5 things that Eli Drinkwitz does before, during, or after this game that's really douchebaggery and jackassery towards Arkansas or Sam Pittman or the players or something like that. 2.5.
Oh. Well, does this one already count?
Yes. Okay, so we'll do that. Yeah, so,
one.
Yeah, we'll do that. Definitely counts as one.
I think he's going to do something along the line. I think he's going to reference a jukebox somehow. Whether it's on the field or whatever, I think he's going to say something along the lines of turn that jukebox on.
I think, last year, you guys remember when that huge fight broke out and during the game after in the press conference, he's like, Arkansas obviously came just to fight. We came to win. Yeah. And I was like, this is actually a pretty good line, but still, if that's what he's going to bring up in that particular moment, yeah. But if Arkansas wins, that's what I want to see. More than anything, just if Arkansas wins, does he do anything? Does he say anything? Does he go in as a coward and cover back and be like, Arkansas is a good team. We got to give a lot of credit to Sam Pittman, and this is something that they obviously. Or is he going to be like, well, it was their Super Bowl, and they wanted this game really badly because they've been not beating us very often, and we just didn't play well. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like there's going to be some jackassery on his end to no end. Because now he's just accepted that role.
He'll probably go over. He's pretty good at that. So.
Yeah, he's pretty good at being a douche canoe. So, all right, we'll get to Jeremy here on the phone lines, then we'll get to your chats, folks. Here on a Remember Wednesday, presented by Fayetteville Fly Co. What's going on, Jeremy?
Hey, happy Thanksgiving, guys. How are you guys?
Happy Thanksgiving, you.
Doing good.
Good. I called in early. I think I was actually backstage with you guys for a little bit, which I don't know if that's a thing that you guys know or not.
We don't, so I am glad you have told me that, because now I got to make sure that we do not connect the phone lines too early, because we don't want anybody saying anything. But thank you for that, Jeremy.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, great show, guys. I appreciate it. I just calling in to share my thoughts a little bit with just kind of some inconsistencies I hear on like a specific morning show, not your guys' channel, obviously, one, because you're not in the morning. And I genuinely think you guys do a really good job at being consistent with your takes. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on your guys' line, but, I hear, on one hand, like, when we're talking about NIL and no head coach, like you can't fire Sam Pittman because no head coach is going to want to come into the situation at Arkansas with their current NIL landscape. And then literally on the other hand, it's, we're going to get all this revenue sharing. And, Sam Pittman, could you potentially build a national championship roster? Like, I just feel like, the answer to that question is like, this is really going to help out a lot. We finally have, more money to compete, which I just think that's not necessarily the case. I think it's kind of, along the lines of inflation. But the point that I'm trying to make is I feel like some people try to carry the water for Sam Pittman and the University of Arkansas, and their takes are just, they're just not consistent, and it's kind of frustrating. Also, my next point is like, okay, you guys have been talking about like Eli Drinkwitz today and, some of the charade that he does, and I completely agree with it. And I think as like an Arkansas fan, and this is my last point, I'll hang up and listen to what you guys have to say, but like sometimes it's hard for me. Like I know Sam Pittman has to act professional. I get that. But there's sometimes I feel like he doesn't necessarily like go to bat for like the fans, the state. Like when he was asked about, what do you think about Eli Drinkwitz? And, he had mentioned, he's, stirred the pot a lot, but he's a really good head coach. Like, am I out of line for thinking there's sometimes I'd like for our head coach? This is piggybacked on the top of him saying this is one of the biggest rivals before he was talking about that. Like, as a fan, I kind of want to see, we want to go to Missouri and we want to wax the floor with these guys. Like, they talk a lot of trash. Their head coach is a dork. He's called out Arkansas. He's made fun of Arkansas. And now this interview was the Talon Green comments, but it's kind of like, man, I could rally behind a head coach like that. Cause I'll be honest. And I've shared my take with you guys a couple of times. Like I'm off the Sam Pittman train. It is really hard to buy me back in at this point, just with the inconsistency. Is it a quarterback issue? Is it an offensive line issue? Is it a defensive issue? Is it a special team issue? If it's a one of all of these issues, it's one issue, and that's your head coach. So I appreciate it, fellas. Again, have a blessed holiday with your friends and family, and I'll hang up and listen. Thank you, guys.
I appreciate it, Jeremy. Thanks for calling in. To your point, as far as morning shows, carrying water and all that, I listen. That's just going to be what's going to happen. So you're just going to have to get used to that, or just not listen to him and just listen to us the entire time. But to your other point, though, as far as Sam Pittman, I've heard this before. I understand where you're coming from, but it kind of goes back to, at least for me, guys, I don't want Sam Pittman to be inauthentic because that's not who Sam Pittman is. I don't want him to be somebody he's not. Yeah, I'd love to have a fired up coach that goes out there and talks a little crap sometimes or gets it, but I also don't want him to do it where it's forced. Because say what you want about Sam Pittman, could you imagine how uncomfortable and awkward that would be if he did that? Because it's just not him, and we'd all be like, "What are you doing? What are you doing, Sam?" So I get what you're saying, but to me, I don't want anybody, personality-wise, character-wise, whatever, going against who they are, because then I start to resent you like I do with Drinkwitz, where it seems forced, awkward, uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's just really not his thing to act that way, for sure. And you're right. Like that would come across as, I don't know if it would be cringy. That might not be the best word, but it would be weird. Yeah, it wouldn't feel right. It's not him. And to the thing about the inconsistent messaging or whatever from the media, I just think there's just a fine line there. And I do think a lot of the fan base is just so passionate and emotional about it that they tend to misconstrue when people are kind of reporting or talking about what's going to happen versus what should happen, or what they want to happen, or what they think is going to happen. And people just really get up in arms about that kind of stuff. And I know everybody wants a strong opinion and take a stand or whatever. That's really, one, that's just really not how it works in this business. Two, it varies based on where you go, like what medium you consume your content in. You're not going to find that kind of stuff in print journalism. You're just not. It's not a thing, doesn't exist. People don't do it. It's a discussion that is had way more regularly on airwaves when people are talking about it. People like us, guys on the radio, some are university employees and they don't do that. Others talk about it like us. And so you just got to kind of find the right place to figure out what you want to hear. But if you're looking for, somebody to take out a column in the ADG and say, get Pittman the hell out of here, it's just not going to happen. It's not.
Yeah. Going back to the Sam Pittman feigning his anger thing, I get that. And I definitely think it would be inauthentic a little bit if he just started yelling and stuff all the time. But at the same time, it shouldn't have to be a fake anger thing when you get your ass kicked by Eli Drinkwitz every single year. That should just naturally piss you off a little bit. We should sense some of that frustration, and every now and then we sense frustration from Pittman because he'll kind of take it out on the media a little bit and be rubbed the wrong way by some things. I can think of a few examples off the top of my head of him just being a little annoyed at press conferences. But I would love to see more of that. Frankly, I would love to see him be openly taking things personally, especially when things aren't going well. And I would like to see, I'm not saying you have to go out there and bang the table, but it's I don't think it should take an inauthentic rage to get your head coach to show some emotion. You know what I mean? Especially for something like this that keeps happening. And he's one of the main guys. It's we think Missouri's a great rival. He's pushed the rivalry thing. And so I almost wonder if he's playing it coy so that he can, when they win, be like, this really meant a lot to us. But they just haven't won. So he hasn't been able to do that. Hasn't been able to have the like gotcha moment. But yeah, I think there's a balance there because look, ultimately, like you are like, you get to tell your own story. And so all these fans that think Sam doesn't care about the program or doesn't have this fire and doesn't feel that way, they feel that way because that's what they see. And so it's like if the product on the field continues to be, just average and he continues to seem okay with it, like I don't blame fans for feeling that way, being like, this guy doesn't really care that much.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying because I want to be clear when I'm talking about becoming inauthentic, it was more about alluding to being like Drinkwitz and talking a little crap or trash.
Yeah, right.
Emotion, yes, because I looked at it. I don't know if you guys knew this. Eric Musselman was a pretty emotional guy. I don't know if you guys knew that, but one of the things, yes, very authentically emotional. But one of the things that I would have thought would have been weird is after Arkansas beat Kansas, for instance, in the NCAA tournament. If I would have saw Muss just walk over, shake Bill Self's hand, and go back to the locker room, and then get into the press conference, be like, it was a good win for us, but we still got some things we got to work on, and all that. I'd be like, are you dying? Like, is something wrong with you? Like, did you watch a different game? That's the type of thing where it's just you want consistencies. Emotions are fine, but just talking trash, throwing stuff out there, yeah, I don't think that's anything that needs to go down. But all right, so a few of your chats, folks, because we will get into a Remember Wednesday here in a second too. But shout out to this. Look at this. Joy to the world with a little super chat. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your coverage from BBN.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
I'm skeptical. I am skeptical of you. I don't think that's from either. You're not from Big Blue Nation or you don't want joy to the world. You can't have both. You can't be part of a Kentucky fan and say that there's joy to the world. You just can't do that. But we appreciate it no matter what. Let's see.
It's off. Thank you.
Yeah. Go get bent. Let's see. Harold says, Dink, like the Dink and Mizzou know exactly how to troll Hog fans, which is some truth to that, I believe.
Yep. Now, he's doing a great job. Drink is the one making this a thing if it's going to become a rivalry. It ain't got nothing to do with Arkansas and Missouri on the football field, and it damn sure don't have anything to do with Sam Pittman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Drink's the one.
Arkansas is not holding up their end of the bargain at all.
Right.
Yeah. And the thing is, man, if I could just read some of the replies from my tweet from last night, it's pretty nasty. But it's fun to at least stay. You're doing something to try to get people interested in it. Because Lord knows that big trophy sponsored by Shelter Insurance ain't going to do it for anybody. Let's see. Evan says the rivalry thing is weird. How many starters were playing last season when they got whooped at home? Well,
I don't get what this. I guess I don't understand this notion. Like, obviously, the rosters in college sports change year to year all the time, but that hasn't been affecting rivalries since then. Every other. So it's like, because then you can make that case for pretty much every single. Well, A&M's not a rivalry; it's a different team last year. Well, LSU's not a rivalry; different team last year. I don't know what the team, and also Arkansas does have some returning starters that like Landon Jackson should absolutely be taking that game personally. Jaden Johnson, who damn near quit on the field in Como 2 years ago, should be taking that game personally. Like, this could pretty much apply to any rivalry.
And also to add to that, Josh Braun, the team he hates the most is Missouri. I don't know if you wanted that to be known, but it's true. That's the team he hates the most. Mainly doing back to his Florida days. But yeah, some hatred there. There's a lot of problems with the thing that happened last year too. Like Sam Pittman hates Eli Drinkwitz, and he wants to beat him really, really bad. He'll never say it, but it's true. He wants to. So there should be some animosity towards if you want to call it a rivalry or whatever, it doesn't matter. But there still should be plenty of motivation to win this game if you're Arkansas.
Yeah.
And so BG says he is taking things personally right now. He has gone on a blocking rampage on Twitter, I guess, talking about Pittman.
Yeah. I mean,
but why
it's hard
now?
to argue otherwise.
But why now?
Yeah.
What happened? Did something happen?
He just does this every now and then. I don't know if he uses Twitter that much, but I think when he does, he's blocking people.
Yeah.
Do I need to make sure I'm not blocked? Did you guys check?
This morning, I am not blocked. I don't know about you guys, but
I'm not blocked either.
Okay. Well, if I'm blocked,
been doing crazy stuff.
But most of the fan base is.
Well, I've seen a lot of people also literally tweeting at him and asking him to block them. So, like, I think it's one of those things, like, people really want to be blocked and then want to talk about it, Do
you guys remember, was it 2 years ago maybe, that he, like, replied to some random person on Twitter? And it was just like...
He does that.
But he just does, it's out of the blue, like somebody with 150 followers on Twitter just like, well, let me tell you, here's something, Sonny. And it's like,
Yeah.
just random. But okay, well, I don't know why he's on a blocking escapade, but apparently he is.
Well, last year he shut down his Twitter altogether.
I do remember that. I was not a fan of that, but again, that was last year. Who really cares at this point? But so, all right. So let's go ahead and get into a little of Remember Wednesday, which of course is presented by Fayetteville Fly Co. Folks, they're having a Black Friday deal going on, like a lot of people do, but this one's a great one here with Fayetteville Fly Co. 30% off site-wide over at fflyco.com. It's limited supply, but you get great gifts for outdoors men as well as outdoors women. Fast, free shipping on orders of over $50. And 5% of all proceeds go to nonprofit organizations to help protect, conserve, and restore wilderness and native fisheries in Arkansas. And it's going to be happening till December 4th. So you not only have this weekend, but until Wednesday, December 4th, that'll be the last day to save at Fayetteville Fly Co. So be sure to use, of course, the promo code of HOGSBY20 for 20% off your purchase with Fayetteville Fly Co. here on Remember Wednesday. So, guys, one that I wanted to bring up is, I think maybe we discussed this a little bit last night at the Little Roy, but remember when Kamani Johnson and Maui had that big game and that big tip back pass, and then the Muss throwing the L and all of that? I went back and watched the highlights of that last night just because it reminded me of it. What a game that was. What an intense battle and match that was. And it was so much fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. They needed that one, man. They really needed that one because they had just come off that tough loss to Creighton, where I thought they looked great, but then they took the L. You didn't want to leave that thing going 1-2, and they were dog tired, super fatigued. I remember Trevor Brazil, was becoming a villain, staring out into the crowd and pissing everybody off, and that was a wild game. And San Diego State made some major mistakes down the stretch in that one. But yeah, big stuff from Kamani.
Do you remember when the fan that like raced after Muss, or at least after the locker room, that was trying to beat him up?
One of the kids' dads or something.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Is like, who was it? But I guess that's who it was. But what a weird, crazy time and an intense game. That was so much fun.
I remember Ricky Council starting off like 0 for 9 and like looking like he was point shaving for like the entire first half of that game. And then he had like a 4 possession stretch where he made like 4 unreal vintage Ricky Council plays. He did a crazy traffic reverse dunk as well. And it was just like when I really started to really appreciate Ricky Council for what he was. But yeah, that Creighton game the day before, that was like one of my favorite Razorback losses in basketball ever. I just loved watching that team. That was like peak Trevin Brazil. Anthony Black was playing great ball. It was just that trip was a lot of fun. But yeah, if you had lost that San Diego State game, it feels completely differently. And like, it probably wouldn't have mattered that much in the long run, but that Creighton game felt like such a good moment. But if you had gone 1-2, it would have really put a damper on just the whole thing. So it was nice for them to salvage that one the day before Thanksgiving.
Do you remember when
1-2 last year in their little Thanksgiving tournament?
Well, think about how depressing it felt.
Yeah. The last 2 times they've played on the day before Thanksgiving have been overtime games. San Diego State, and then last year Stanford.
Oh wow! So guess
they
we're going for some OT.
They won. They beat Stanford.
Yeah,
and then lost to North Carolina and Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh. Well, do you also remember when Muss had to put out an apology after the game?
His statement, yeah.
His statement. When because I pulled it up again because I'm laughing about it because we can now, but he's like, we recently played a highly contested and emotional game against an exceptional San Diego State team. Shortly after the game, I and some members of our program responded with negative dialogue to a few San Diego State fans. I want to take this opportunity to apologize to the San Diego State community and especially head coach Brian Dutcher, who and his staff and their excellent team and their enthusiastic fans for this post-game interaction. We highly value and appreciate and respect our participation in the 2022 Maui Classic. Yeah, sure you did.
And now he's going back next year.
Is San Diego State going back? Please, that'd be so great if they did.
They might be in it, actually, but I know USC is. Yeah.
That'd be so much fun. I would love that. But then again, there's just so much from that game I remember, and the apology where I'm like, man, if Muss is putting out an apology, it must have been Yurchek or somebody was like, hey, you got to do this, dude. Like, you have to put out a statement. So good times though. Also, I have a remember when, which is kind of a sore subject for somebody. Remember when Arkansas and LSU used to play every Black Friday? Those were good times. You know, I remember that.
Those were good times.
Back in the battle for the Golden Boot, early part of it, the mid 2000s, a game in War Memorial or the game in LSU, but just knowing it was on Friday, CBS, 1 p.m., the consistency and the things that were on the line, there was just something special about it. And the color coordination of red versus yellow, and man, I miss those days.
You know what's stupid is LSU and Oklahoma now play on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Who the hell's idea was that? Like, I just don't understand like what the connection. Like, it's weird that LSU fans have actually come full circle where they are like they miss Arkansas as well. They're like, hey, that was actually pretty fun. They had a nice little run there with A&M, who was kind of the cool person for a while, but now they got stuck with Oklahoma, and they're like, damn, we kind of miss Arkansas.
Yeah, and that was what's funny is because from my understanding, that's when they wanted LSU and A&M to play each other every year, and so they switched it. But then A&M's like, well, we're playing Texas at the end of the year, so they're like, well, I guess you get Oklahoma then, LSU. Because remember when Razorback fans were thinking, oh, they're going to give us LSU back at the end of the year. No, that was never going to happen. As much as you would like it to, that was never going to happen. But
yeah, for sure, man.
I mean, hey, if Arkansas keeps getting their ass whipped in this game, they might have to make might have to make an exception and just put Missouri and Oklahoma together. Just trade it up.
I'd be okay with that. I think it'd be okay.
Hurt my feelings.
I mean, hell, I remember when this Arkansas-Illinois game at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City right before, right around Thanksgiving was supposed to happen 3 years ago. That pissed me off so much, man, because Arkansas caught so much flack for their non-conference schedule that year. And we knew it going into it. And the one thing that people were hanging on to was, they'll get that top 25 matchup. They'll get the resume opportunity in the championship game of the Hall of Fame Classic. Arkansas takes care of business against Kansas State, and Jeremiah Davenport just drops 27 on Illinois, and Cincinnati beats them. And neither one of those teams, Kansas State or Cincinnati, made the tournament. So we didn't get to see Illinois and Kofi Coburn in that game. It killed the strength of schedule. But Arkansas won that tournament, and then Muss is on the post game afterward. He's like, "You won't find a tougher team in the country than the Razorback. Did you guys see Connor Vanover?"
I'll remember of that too, Curtis. Like that Cincinnati game was pretty intense. Like it was an intense, electric game. And I remember, I think it was Jalen Williams took the charge, of course, at the end of the game. That ended up, I was sitting in the stands, and there was some Cincinnati. It was either Cincinnati fans or people that had the spread. But man, they were looking to fight after that charge got taken. They were so pissed off.
It was nuts. That's when they were up until the start of SEC play. It was starting Connor and Jalen Williams together every game, and he'd do it to like the first media timeout. Connor wouldn't play anymore. Wild times, man.
Curtis, I hate to have to correct you, but I'm pretty sure that Illinois big man, I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Cockburn.
It's not, but I knew you would say it. So
I think everybody was hopeful for that. Another real quick from that event. One, Travis Kelce was there in attendance with his girlfriend, not named Taylor Swift. And Isaiah Campbell, which I remember people were like, remember when Muss took a picture, of course he did, with Travis Kelce, make sure he's seen. And everyone's like, oh, what? He was sitting next to Isaiah Campbell. You didn't get a picture with him? And then like later he posted on Twitter, he's like, oh, I've also got a picture with Isaiah Campbell, former Razorback great. But that was fun. And then also, do you remember that the MVP of that event, the Kansas City event or whatever it was, Au'Diese Toney was the MVP.
He clamped up Jeremiah Davenport in that second game.
He did. And at the time, we thought that was a sign of a good defender.
Yep. Sure enough.
Turned out all you had to do was just, let Jeremiah Davenport shoot. That was the way to defend him nowadays. Yeah, who would have thought that back then when Muss took that picture with Travis Kelce, that one day we'd live in a world where Travis Kelce's sister-in-law would have a podcast.
Yeah, I did. I saw that. I guess it was yesterday. And it's like, oh my God, man. And was it about Isaiah Campbell just randomly showing up for Arkansas basketball games that are not at Arkansas? He was just in the Bahamas last year for Atlantis. He was just there and didn't even know that they were playing. Just like there with his lady or whatever. And was like, oh, okay, this is cool.
He's going to be there tomorrow, probably too, up there against Illinois.
Well, yeah, he's from Kansas City, or he's from Olathe, so that made sense. But the Bahamas one, that's crazy.
Yeah. All right, Andrew, you got to remember Wednesday.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, let's just remember 2 years ago to the day, pretty much, just the world we lived in, where Arkansas had just beaten the hell out of Ole Miss. They were 6-5 at this point, and we were like, okay, you had that loss to Liberty, but like you blew out Ole Miss, you've kind of recovered, you're bowl eligible, and Missouri is 5-6, and at this point had not made a bowl game under Drink, had not had a winning season under Drink, and Arkansas had a chance to bury the Tigers. They had a chance to really show some separation. But once again, Arkansas fans said, hey, we're too good for this rivalry game. We don't care. It doesn't matter to us. Then you lose. You get out physicaled. You fire the entire coaching staff. You fire Jameel Walker or whatever. Is it Jameel Walker?
Yeah.
Something Walker. Yeah. And then Missouri goes to a bowl game. And then now here you are in 2 years. Now you're hoping to be the team that spoils their season. It's just crazy how different the world is 2 years. And I don't know if that game had like, is that game what propelled Missouri to 11-2 last year? I don't know, but I just feel like if Arkansas wins that game, it's a little bit of a huge domino where you don't have to go to the Liberty Bowl. Maybe things are a little bit differently. Maybe the feeling of the program is completely different. Maybe Kendall Briles sticks around. I don't know. But it just would have, I feel like the program would have had a different feel going into that offseason than if they hadn't blown that game in Como.
Yeah, Missouri usually does that. It was 2016, the same thing when they lost that game in 2016. Kind of ruined the entire Brett Bielema deal. So they're good at that. They really are. So shout out to Chef Boyer Lee says, remember when Arkansas basketball was 12-1 going into conference play and finished the season 14-16? I remember it well. Oh, yeah. I honestly thought after they beat Oklahoma and Blake Griffin and then a week later beat Texas at home, I was like, John Pelfrey might be the next Nolan Richardson. He might bring Arkansas back. He didn't.
Yeah.
It went pretty rotten pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So, but that team had stupid young talent on it, man. Courtney Fortson, Rodney Clark, Jason Henry, who was a freak athlete, really good. Brandon Moore, Andre Clark, just some really good players, and didn't matter in the end.
I mean, listen, I really thought when they beat Texas, beat Oklahoma in like a span of 10 days, I really thought like that was a turning point. I thought Arkansas basketball was set.
Yep. Thought so, but it just wasn't the case. So that's your Remember Wednesday presented by Fayetteville Fly Co. fflyco.com, and use promo code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your next purchase. Let's go ahead and get into your Arkansas update presented by Davis & Garrett Insurance, your independent auto owners insurance agency, securing what matters the most. Hey, we got a chance to catch up with Big Z today in a press conference on Zoom because Arkansas is not only playing Illinois, but Big Z is playing his brother. And honestly, this was the best clip of the entire press conference when he's talking about he used to play his brother younger and how that would go.
I mean, we always played against each other one-on-one and stuff like that, but we haven't played one in a while. But, when we were kids, we were playing every day, one-on-one, just shooting or whatever, just having fun. I was beating his ass every time.
Just great stuff right there. Great stuff from Big Z.
I absolutely love this guy. That's electric.
He had a really good performance in the press conference, which, by the way, let's just peek behind the curtain. Just chaotic timing. They sent us an email yesterday. It's like, hey, we're going to do a 10:30 press conference with Big Z. Oh, no, actually, now they've got a breakfast and a team meeting, so we're going to move it to 11. Oh, wait, actually, a breakfast and a team meeting takes longer than 30 minutes, so we're going to move it to 11:30. Just stupid.
And then we got an email that said, we are confirmed for 11:30.
Yeah, because he kept
This
saying
is we.
tentative confirmation or whatever.
I didn't realize that they were already in Kansas City. I figured they were going up there today.
Yeah.
So it makes a little bit more sense to me now. But yeah, like last night, it was like, oh yeah, he's going to be at 10:30 or noon, but we got to see the schedule, and it might be tomorrow morning before you get it. And so we were just kind of waiting to see what happened. But that was cool. And somebody, hang on, let me pull it up here. Yeah, it was Wade. He said, how many different ways did Big Z get asked about playing with his brother? 34, and all 34 times he was asked twice the same way. So there was a lot going on there, but he nailed it, man. He nailed it. He did a good job.
One thing about Arkansas sports media, they're going to hear, they have their question they want to ask. And if people ask it ahead of them, it doesn't matter. They're going to ask it regardless. They kept asking him about, oh, what's it like playing your brother? Hey, your brother plays for Illinois. Did you know about that? They also kept asking him how his parents would be cheering for, like how would they be approaching the game? Who would they root for?
People were really wanting that. They were really wanting that. Oh, me, of course. But,
right. Which like he was pretty open. Like, yeah, they don't care about Arkansas and Illinois basketball, you morons. We're from Croatia. They just want us to do well. Like, they want us to go to the league and make a lot of money. They don't care about whether or not Illinois wins on Thanksgiving. Like, I don't know why you expected that to be a different answer.
Well, Double H wants to know, Curtis, do we have the superior Big Z?
They're just very different players. I mean, it's kind of tough to say. Big Z is he's a better shooter. He's more skilled with the ball in his hand. I think he's a better rim protector. His brother, Tomislav, is he's a better rebounder. He's more physical, better on the block, better in ball screens, but he's not as skilled with it out on the perimeter. So
they've got thick Z. Arkansas's got big Z, but they've got a little bit thicker Z. About 12 pounds worth of thickness.
The over-under is going to be set at 10.5 for the amount of times that during the television broadcast it gets mentioned that they're brothers. Like, y'all just got to get ready for that.
That's why I'm glad I'm going to be there, so I don't have to hear it.
It's going to be nonsensical, man. Yep. It's going to be absolutely nonsensical.
I'll probably get some good pictures of them as small lads before they were 7 feet tall.
Yeah,
playing on the little mini hoops and stuff. So
yeah. And I thought I had it up here, but it's just at the risk of me naming it wrong, I'm just going to mention it. I guess the headband's gone. He's not going to do the headband anymore. I was disappointed. He said it was too tight.
It was too tight, man. Yeah, stretch that thing out, bro. Come on.
No more headband Z. I'm disappointed. I thought that was his calling card.
Yeah, I thought he just wanted to change, but he was uncomfortable.
Don't they make different size headbands where they could give him one that's not too tight?
I think so. Is his head that big? I thought they were one size fits all.
Maybe not.
He didn't strike me as a jughead, but
he didn't close the door entirely on it, though. I bet we see it at least one more time before the end of the year.
If he goes out there and starts sucking, then he better get that headband back on.
Buster. Yeah, I like it.
If I was a bro, I'd wear a headband tomorrow.
That's what
I would do.
Get in his head a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, little gamesmanship, as they say.
And then if I was Big Z, like before a free throw or something, when you're just lined up down there beside each other, I'd take it off his damn head and put it on mine.
Yep.
Just see what he did,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the thing is, like, can you issue a technical if it's just you, just brothers being brothers? I mean, really? Can you issue a technical if you're an official?
Right.
I'm begging for Big Z double technical.
It would be incredible. It would be incredible.
Yeah. And then, hopefully would be at least asked in the press conference. So what'd y'all say there? Oh, just some stuff in Croatian. Don't worry about it. It's like, yeah.
Also,
it would be hilarious to see like
every day.
Yeah, he did say that.
That's chaos. Like I don't know anybody on this planet that I'd want to FaceTime every day.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. I hope that they get into it though.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy, but like the sibling thing, DJ Wagner has to break them up, be good.
Yeah.
Step in between. All right, fellas.
Step in, and then he gets some shrapnel from somebody else coming in too, and just an all-out brouhaha comes out. Yeah, that would be awesome. I like this from Dalton Motorsports. Says they can't make any of your mom jokes.
That's true. Yeah,
it's true. Is there trying to think? Has there ever been a time where we've seen brothers, or there was a brother on a Razorback team playing against a brother on the other team? Football, basketball, baseball, anything like that?
Basketball, I don't think so.
No, I mean, you had the Mitchell twins, but
yeah, it almost happened with Connor Vanover when they played UCA that year, but his brother wasn't playing.
Yeah. Jason Jones had a brother. The baseball Jason Jones had a brother that played for, I want to say, Pine Bluff or maybe Grambling, one of those teams, and I don't know if they actually faced each other because I think his brother was a pitcher, but they was like the closest. Typically, Arkansas, they like to hoard the brothers. Typically, you see the Arkansas brothers playing together. I don't know if they really like to go at each other much.
No.
Why do I feel like it happened recently in football?
That's why I'm trying. That's why I asked, because I was hoping one of you guys remember it, because I feel the same way that it's happened.
The Fletchers.
Fletchers. There we go.
Max Fletcher and his brother, they punted against another in Max Fletcher's debut.
Now they're punting together.
Did Max punt that day?
He did, I believe.
I think he did, yeah.
He wasn't very good. I do remember that.
Not well. He
That was rehearsal dinner day for my my wedding extravaganza, so I don't remember that one too much. So yeah,
that's awful. You didn't check out the Cincinnati Arkansas game. Come on now.
I mean, I was watching.
Yeah, it's not there in person. So all right, so we're gonna have a little bit of fun here because there's other things we'll get to. I'll tell you what, we'll get to Ryan in Hot Springs' call because he's been patiently holding. We'll get to him and then we'll move on to some Thanksgiving talk. What's up, Ryan?
Well, y'all just swung and missed on one. Our first baseman played against his brother at Grand Canyon earlier this year in baseball.
Who was it?
Our first baseman, I cannot think of his name, but his brother was on for Grand Canyon. We played him early in the season.
Well, I'll have to look it up because I believe you, but I'll have to look it up.
What the heck is our first baseman's name? All of a sudden, it's escaping me. He was one of our consistent hitters this past year.
I'm trying to think. And also, did Arkansas play Grand Canyon? Why don't I just blanked that out from my memory entirely?
Yeah, I
think it was Grand Canyon. I may be messing up the school, but I do know our first baseman played his brother this past season in the regular season.
Well, we'll look it up and we'll get back with you.
McLaughlin? McLaughlin had a brother?
Yes, McLaughlin.
Oh. Huh. Well, we'll look it up and we'll get back with you. What you got, Ryan?
Okay, so y'all are kind of. It's not really. I'm not necessarily saying it, y'all. I don't want in general. I don't mean y'all. I just mean in generalized deal. We keep hearing the comment about how Arkansas, the kind of the team, is sometimes uninterested in playing Missouri. But if you go by game basis, man, we'll start with the first one. I mean, you're talking about a game that got affected by two different fumbles that were unreviewable, and both of them went against Arkansas's way. The first one was Matty Mock's fumble. That got ruled a fumble. It was unreviewable, and it got reviewed a fumble. That should not have happened. And then you also had Alex Collins fumble one that looked like on the replay he got it back. That was Bielema took a timeout, and they went back, reviewed it, and gave it to Missouri. And then fast forward to 2020, we're about to get a stop. Poor Joe Fouché does the celebration that they do game in and game out.
Yeah,
wasn't taunting anybody. Threw a flag on that, and then that happened, and it just now y'all did bring up the 2022. I got kind of mad when y'all bring that back up because Rocket should have had the rushing that game, and he got pretty much benched the second half, and we decided to run a tight end draw at the 3-yard line when you got Rocket sitting on the bench.
Jeez, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I totally remember that one. Trey Knox, not even just a draw play, Ryan. Trey Knox under center, taking the snap, and it was an epic fail.
Right. I'm just like, if they had Rocket in that play, I understand that play. But Trey Knox, I mean, I'm not hating on Trey Knox. Arkansas's done some stuff to themselves in this game. I mean, we were up by double digits in 2016, and we blew the lead, and they come back and beat us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like 28-14 or something like that at halftime, and then I don't think we scored the second half, and they beat us. Anyway, there's been some tough Missouri games, and weird stuff happens in this game. But I did want to say this too about the Pitman thing. You asked the question if you wanted to hear Pitman trash talk. No, not really, because it's he doesn't seem like the type of person that's a trash talker. So usually when people that are not trash talkers, it doesn't really when they do talk trash, it doesn't go over as well as like the delivery's not as good or whatever. Do you get what I'm trying to say with that?
Yeah. Well, I get you. And
I just let him stay in his lane on that one.
Yeah. Well, hey, we appreciate the phone call, Ryan, and happy Thanksgiving, man. Yeah, it's a matter of if you do it like in the right way, because if someone who's not a trash talker can throw like a really good subtle line in there, it's just that there's nothing better than that. Than just a really dry, just whatever. But I don't think Sam Pittman's going to do that. I don't think he has that in him. So who knows? Maybe if Arkansas wins this game, what if Sam Pittman just comes out and like gives the double birds? Just is like, up yours, Eli. Like That'd be pretty. I'd love that.
Did he give the bird to an official this year?
Yes, in Oklahoma State. He
Yeah,
did.
that's right. Hell yeah. I like that.
Yeah, no, Pitman's definitely not a trash talker. We don't need a ton of trash talk necessarily. But you know, maybe we'll get a little something post game. They win.
I just couldn't believe I forgot about that Trey Knox under center play.
I know, dude. I completely forgot about the 2020 penalty that because it was literally like 3rd and long, third and 18, and they have a overthrown whatever, and Joe Fouché literally, I think he just did like the.
No, he crossed he looked at the Arkansas sideline and crossed his arms like that.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
that is crazy.
Yeah.
Good pulls there from the memory banks.
Yeah. Forever remember Wednesday.
Memory banks. The chat, it was his brother was at UCA, McLaughlin. And
Gotcha.
I completely forget. This is like 2 years ago that they played, but also the Roslovich, whose brother plays at Missouri, and then he had another brother committed who ended up signing professionally, but they played last year. So baseball, they've had a little bit of brother overlap here lately.
That's what it seems like that. All right. So just to have some fun, since it's Thanksgiving and all, I just asked the Alumni Hall question of the day, just for the positive vibes only. Okay. For you Hog fans out there, it's Alumni Hall. Shop them today, getting ready for Christmas, Black Friday sales, everything at Alumni Hall. Visit them at alumnihall.com and also in store at 3417 North College Avenue. It's all Alumni Hall, the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. What are you thankful for as a Razorback fan? What are you thankful for? What are some good vibes, some good stuff that you're thankful for? Squealy Dan says, with an awesome AI image of a Razorback playing a guitar. But I like the Squealy Dan. It's all coming together. Thankful for you guys. Also thankful to be a Razorback and not a Tiger or some other lame mascot. See, that's some good positive Thanksgiving vibes we'd like to have today.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Very nice. Pooh Bear says, I'm thankful for all the Razorback fans. Sometimes when I'm feeling dumb, I just read their comments and it brightens my day. So you read your own comments? Hate to say it. Let's see. That was a few from the chat, but some of them I was kind of wondering how it would go on Twitter, just because I wanted to see how exactly people would react to some of the things going on there and what type of sarcasm that they would be able to bring into the mix. But this comes from, actually, most people said Dave Van Horn. Most Razorback fans did. Jackson says, Sam Pittman, LOL, just kidding. I hate turkey. Okay. Whatever. Also, Zach says that the football season's almost over. So you got someone thankful for that.
Honestly, facts.
Yeah. And then you have a nice one here. Says, I'm thankful we have good heart doctors in this state because we need them with our athletic programs, all of them, except track, because we are good at running really fast. So that's what he is also thankful for.
Yeah.
Thankful for our speed and our good hearts.
Yep. That is that's good stuff. So yeah, it's time to be thankful. It's a time to be happy with what you got, and it could be a lot worse. Because here's the thing, we're talking about Missouri. Yes, has Missouri football been better than you more often than not over the past few years? Absolutely. But not in any other sports, so it could be a lot worse. Could be like a Missouri fan, and then you're just hoping that football carries you a little bit. But in basketball, you went 0-18 last year. I don't even know if Missouri won an SEC baseball series last year. If they did, it was like 1, maybe 2. So they weren't good. And they never have been good. And Missouri will never be good in baseball. And as soon as they get any sort of decent success, that coach will get hired somewhere else. So, yeah, just remember, it sucks as a Razorback fan sometimes, but it could be a lot worse.
Indeed.
Just be thankful for that.
Indeed, it could.
I'll tell you what I'm thankful for, guys. I'm thankful for Inside Arkansas. And I mean this seriously. I'm very thankful that we get to do what we do and that we have been doing what we do. And frankly, I was thinking about it. When I was a kid, I wish Inside Arkansas, something like this had existed. Because, I always think about, man, if I weren't doing what I was doing, how would I be consuming content as a Razorback fan? And, I feel like what we do matters. And I honestly, I'm thankful for it.
I feel this reminds me of the day before you get let out of school for Thanksgiving and you're drawing your little turkey hands on paper plates or whatever. And the teacher's like, we're going to go around the room. Everybody say something they're thankful for. Or at dinner, the family dinner. It's all right, before we break bread, you're all salivating over here, but let's go around, and it brings back some memories, But yeah, no, I echo that. I really, for me, just like everybody who's tapped in with us, the chat, whether it's this or the post game shows that we do, that's a lot of fun, man. Like this would be a lot. Not that I don't like you guys, but this would be a lot less fun if we didn't have the type of engagement that we do, which has been really cool. And especially, some of the ups and downs with this football season, people stay tapped in with us. These basketball games where we're playing Maryland Eastern Shore and Pacific and stuff like that. And hell, we're on at like midnight on a Monday night. And the thing's going nuts, man. It's exciting. Makes you feel good. Makes you excited to get up and keep doing it. So,
yeah, honestly, I was trying to avoid the thing that you were talking about, Curtis, with the elementary school drawing your hands. That's why I was saying that for Hog fans. But I mean, it still works out this way. But no, I mean, again, I'm echoing what you just echoed from being echoed again.
We got a double echo going? Wow.
Yeah, we got double echo going. I feel like I'm in a Razorback Zoom press conference right now. Things just being echoed constantly. But still, but no, like I am thankful for you two, and I'm thankful for everybody who's been engaging with us as well. This is something that's new and is an exciting and didn't go without any bumps in the road. But the fact that we are doing what we're doing and how fun it is to do every day, it's a lot of work. So don't misconstrue it. It's a lot of work that's being put into this. But people responding and people enjoying it and tapping in. And, I feel like Donald Trump over here. It's like, I love the highly educated people. I love the poorly educated people. I love all you smart fans, and I love all you dumb fans. We love you all the same because you still consume our content. And it's only going to get bigger, better, and more fun from here. So we appreciate it, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Give the video a like if you're thankful for us. Make us feel good. So
I bet the BBVLH Thanksgiving is just bougie, man. I bet it's bougie.
Wait, hold on a second.
Don't worry about it. Andrew got it.
Okay. I mean, I assume that is that some sort of Dracula flow, because that's usually like I give a fit. Okay,
it's
always a fit. If one of you two say something I have no idea about, I'm like, okay, I feel like it's a 50-50 shot. It came from like Dracula flow,
which by the way, Dracula flow should be. That's right. Dracula flow needs to make an appearance on the show. Apparently, he's doing that now. Eureka Strings is not giving us the details. We're still waiting. So
yeah,
what he's doing like live appearances.
Live appearances, yeah.
For how much NIL we got to pay this guy?
I have a limit, but like I'm there. It's a pretty high limit. Like I'm willing to put in some coin for this.
Wow. And if that happens, I will let you two handle it all, because I will not know what to do or say. So you guys can talk to Dracula Flow all day long, because I'll just be like, I don't know what's going on, but I'll be here if you guys need me. A few people in the chat saying some nice stuff. You got Darren saying, I'm thankful for our loyal fan base. It's easy to be a Bama fan, Big Blue Nation, Longhorn fan, but it takes a special type to be a Hog fan. The most amazing, terrible thing ever. Very true. Very true. It's good stuff there. Heartbroken Hog says, I'm thankful for having y'all as well. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have anyone to talk hogs with. My in real life friends aren't into sports, and your friends suck. That's sorry.
What do you guys do?
Yeah. It's like, do you just stare at each other? Like, come on now.
Dude,
Chef
if it weren't
Warley,
sports, I don't think I would talk to any of my friends.
All my friends got is Catholicism and like engineering, and I don't have those two things. So sports, that's all we got. Chef Warley says, you guys make being a Hog fan better. Sheesh.
That means a lot. That is the goal, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. Also, like says, Inside Arkansas make Arkansas athletics great again. Like, we have no say in the athletic part of it, but we will make talking about it great again.
We will make sports media coverage in the state of Arkansas great again. How about that?
Yeah, that's true. Aiden says, it feels good to be back in Arkansas for Thanksgiving. Well, good to have you back, Aiden. I don't know where you were, but great. Yeah, it's good to be back. Also, I wanted to have some fun with this, guys, since, again, Thanksgiving talk. And we're not, by the way, folks, just a reminder, we're not going to be on tomorrow or Friday for Inside Arkansas Live, but we're still going to have some content that's getting put out there each and every day. And then we'll be back for Pot of That Nature post-game show following the Missouri game. And also, we'll have Portal Primer coming out on Sunday. Like, portal season is going to be hitting hot and heavy here on Inside Arkansas, so be sure to tap in for all of that. But I wanted to play this little game for you guys, since everyone talks about Thanksgiving and their dishes and their food and everything. Here's what I want you guys to do. I'm throwing this on you. I'll put you on the spot. Your ultimate Thanksgiving feast. You get an appetizer, you get a main course, you get 2 side dishes, and you get a dessert. All right? So you got to build your ultimate Thanksgiving feast for this.
Appetizer.
So, yeah.
Give me some appetizer options, because I feel like I don't eat before like I don't have an appetizer in Thanksgiving. You know
I
what
have
I mean?
wondered what a Thanksgiving appetizer would
Well, I mean,
be.
I don't think it has to be like something Thanksgiving themed, but if it's, if you have a charcuterie board before Thanksgiving, or if
I
it's,
get
Nothing better than a nice charcuterie board.
it's true. It's true.
Yeah, I do like just like kind of walking over, especially anything that you can eat without having to like sit down or even get a plate. Just kind of grab a few little crackers and cheese or whatever, little salami or whatever it is. I like that. I'll take that as my appetizer.
Okay. What about you, Curtis? Are you going to take that one as well? Any dips? Is there any dips that you may go for?
Well, see, that's what I was trying to think about that, but it's like, what the Thanksgiving meal is going to be. So I'm trying to think of a dip that would make sense. And I can't think of one.
Oh.
No, I mean, we're charcuterie board people around here, Michelle and I. And when we go to her family's for most of the time it's Christmas, but they it's like the whole 5-course thing. And there's and it's not only just like the meats and cheeses or whatever, but it's like the freaking olives and what do they call it, antipasto or whatever. Yeah, like they got a lot going on. So
okay. Well,
My
family's big on a cheese ball.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes. Hayden says the sausage balls. Yes.
That was mine.
God, those are good. I won't take it because that was yours, but yeah, those are A+ top notch, delectable Thanksgiving appetizers.
They are. They're like, and they're just something about the coloring of them too is perfect for Thanksgiving. Like it's just there. It's just there. So okay, we'll do with that. We'll make it easier. Main course though. I know turkey, but let's get a little specific. If it's not turkey, or if it is turkey, what type of turkey?
You gotta have ham in there as well. Like I know that's controversial, but like ham is the superior meat. But I will say I like a fried turkey. I've become big on the fried turkey wave. My immediate family actually ate it without me on Monday. My brother-in-law who came up for the Tech game, he fried it up, and so I've become a big fried turkey guy.
Okay. What you, Curtis?
I'm more of a turkey than a ham guy. What are the other ways to make a turkey?
You could bake a turkey. You could smoke a turkey.
Yeah, I'll go smoked. If I can't go fried, I'll go smoked.
Yeah.
I do like
you
ham
guys
too.
can get the same ones. It's not like something that's like a draft where you only get one.
Yeah.
Well, I want to be a little different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do fried turkey, but my specific fried turkey is Cajun style fried turkey. I love that. Love that with the little Creole and everything. All right. So you get 2 sides. So Andrew, you can what are the sides you're going to go with?
Stuffing a side?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I mean, it's got to be stuffing for sure. I mean, I got to be honest. I mean, like mac and cheese is my favorite like thing in the world. Like I can't not have mac and cheese in this sucker, but there's a lot of sides, man. So limited to 2 is tough.
It's tough. All right. Well, I'll get you for stuffing and mac and cheese. What about you, Curtis?
Well, yeah. I mean, and again, like those are the best ones. Those would be my picks, but that's we can't do that. Like we got to be creative here. I see a lot of green bean casserole in here. I don't mind it. It's not my favorite thing in the world. But yeah, I've got to have this. You guys stuffing or dressing, or do you even know the difference, or do you care? First of all,
I don't know the difference. It's all the same to me.
From my understanding, the stuffing is what you put inside of the turkey and cook it in, and you take it out, right? But then the dressing is just
same thing, just not in there.
Just not cooked inside the turkey. From my understanding,
carcass of the bird.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, then I guess I'm a dressing guy because we never put it in the turkey. We always are just a separate thing.
So yeah, like that dressing, stuffing, whatever you call it, has to be in there. But then I really do like the like little sweet potatoes or like the candied yams with the marshmallow and stuff on top of it. That's really, really good. So
that's a great side. That's a great side. Any mashed potatoes for you?
I like some mashed potatoes now.
I like some mashed potatoes, yeah.
Gravy out of your drippings or whatever. So yeah.
So were you saying? So did you say stuffing or dressing, Curtis? What was your other one? Okay, I'll do that.
And the I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know what the difference between a sweet potato and a yam is, but that orange stuff.
Yeah, I think it's the same.
Marshmallows on it. Yeah,
it's the same. Yeah, but I actually really like green bean casserole, but I also like cheesy potatoes. Those are really good that my family's always made.
Ooh,
but as weird as it is, like I called her my Frammy, but it was my grandmother. She had a garden where she grew her own things, and she said there's something about the corn she made. I don't know what it was, but that thing, she had to like put it in freezers and keep it because so many people loved it. So something about corn, just that style of it. But yeah, I'll do that as well as the cheesy potatoes. A lot of starch, a lot of carbs in there too.
Yeah.
All right, and then finally, the dessert, guys. What are we going for dessert?
Pecan pie.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
a good old pecan pie, which I see Michelle was looking for a nice pecan.
Yeah, what was that about? Like, we got to talk about that.
She said Curtis was no help.
Yeah, she's like our chat moderator employee is just jumping in for her own personal use, and I don't know how we feel about that.
Well, I mean, like we sat down the other day and made our entire list of what our meal was going to look like, which is going to be on Friday. So we'll be in Kansas City tomorrow. But it's like I don't know why she had questions actually, but she did. So hopefully she figured it out. But yeah, pecan pie, no doubt about it. Also, some people were saying like cranberry sauce. That to me, that's like a condiment more than you know what I mean?
Like, is anybody
there if you want it? But it's not like I'm not going to waste one of my sides on.
No, like I'll put it with my my dressing or whatever maybe. But yeah,
I've never considered cranberry sauce a straight up side.
Yeah.
It's just more of an addition. It's a bonus, if you would.
Now we got all this chocolate pecan pie. I've never had that and didn't know it was a thing.
I have had it before and I like it, but it's like I almost like here's the thing. My grandma is good at this of having like all the pie options. I like having a pecan pie, a pumpkin pie, and a chocolate pie. Just 3 separate so you can kind of mix and match. I do like chocolate pecan pie, but like I don't know. I just prefer them better separate.
I'm gonna go with a go-to for mine. Apple cobbler with cinnamon ice cream.
There we go.
Cinnamon ice cream, man.
Yeah, I'm a big cinnamon fan. And when you get that apple cobbler on there and throw it on when it's really just right out of the oven, hot, and then you throw some cinnamon ice cream on it where it melts it just a little bit, but not enough. Kind of bounces it out.
Yeah.
Something special about that. Something godly.
By the way, it does look like Michelle got her pie from Rick's, which Rick's does good work. I went to Rick's the other day. I honestly didn't realize they did pecan pies.
They do everything over there, from what I understand.
So what do you guys like for ham? Do you do just like the standard honey baked, or you put the pineapples on it? What do you think?
No, I don't do the pineapple. That's weird. Yeah, just solid country baked ham. I don't know.
I do. Listen, I love all types of ham. Honey ham, I can get down with, as well as the pineapple glaze of ham. But here's my favorite, because this is also my number 1 favorite spice. Number 2 being cinnamon. Peppered ham. It is phenomenal. Like peppered bacon, peppered ham, peppered brisket, peppered anything in a pig. Make it peppered pig. But if you ever have a chance to eat pepper ham, ooh, man, that's amazing. That's good stuff.
Shout out to this is Darren who said, "Is it pecan or pecan?" And then like 3 different people like just gave him different answers. Like,
yeah, of course, of course.
Just sums it up for you pretty good. I've said both in the last 3 minutes. It's pecan if you're in the right mood. It's pecan if you're not. Pecan's a little bit more serious, but if you're in a good mood, it's pecan.
Yeah, depends on where you're at too. It's almost like how your grandparents say it is kind of what you have to do. I saw somebody in the chat said turducken. I've wanted to make a turducken for years. Michelle won't let me do it.
Why?
She just like she freaks out about the duck, and she won't let me do it.
Well.
Her family judges me for it. It's crazy. Yeah, I really want to do it though.
Well, you just don't have to tell them. Hey, I got this new dish. What is it? Don't worry about it. It's just a new thing.
You guys ever had it?
Yes.
I don't think I have.
It is phenomenal if done the right way. It's phenomenal, because I used to go down to Duck Gumbo, all the time for Thanksgiving weekend down at Stuttgart. And so I had some turducken. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's amazing. You can also call it pecan or pecan, but you can also say caro nut. If you were born in the 1920s, like my grandmother, she always used to call it caro nut pie. So, and pumpkin pie's fine. I just don't love it.
I like it a lot, but I will say, like, I get why people don't love it, if that makes sense. Like, I like it. It might be my second favorite pie at Thanksgiving, but I also like, I'm not going to argue with people if they're like, I'm not into it. Like, cause it's a lot of, the texture of it is a little tough. Like, that's what I like about pecan pie is like, you're getting like some of that, sauciness, but you're also getting the crunch, obviously. Pecan pie or pumpkin pie, it's just a lot of, just liquid.
Yeah. I got to have some whipped cream with it. I can't do just a regular slice of, I can of pumpkin pie, but it's not my favorite. Give me a little whipped cream and it's not bad. Not bad at all.
Well, here's the thing. Michelle's calling you out in the chat, Kurt. She says he lies. My brother made it before.
She hasn't said a truth in this chat the entire day. So,
It's on Thanksgiving and you're lying over here, Michelle. Come on. Can't be doing that stuff, especially in the chat. Terrible. There's something else I was going to say about one of the food items y'all brought up, but now I don't remember, and it really doesn't matter. But, I was going to give just a nice little PSA. Folks, if you're frying a turkey, make sure it's not frozen. Look it up on YouTube on how to do it, because that will be the quickest way to die is if you do something like that. So when you're talking about all of the ways you cook, if you're going to fry a turkey and you got turkey fryer, be safe, be smart. Look it up on YouTube on how to do it, because you'll kill yourself if you don't do it right. So
I love seeing those disastrous videos.
Yeah. Is there a standard meal for you guys? I know we'll get to it at the time, but Christmas versus do you always go turkey or whatever on Thanksgiving? Do you do something specific for Christmas, or because like my family, for example, it's weird, but steaks a lot of times on Christmas. Thanksgiving, on my dad's side, my grandparents, it was lasagna. Like they might do turkey or whatever too, but like there was a big ass lasagna every time, which I was cool with. But yeah,
for some reason over the last like decade or so, my family, and I don't know if we ever like had a meeting where we declared this, but we've done it. Chicken spaghetti is what we eat when my family gets together on Christmas.
Yeah.
We used to do it on Christmas Eve was kind of the thing, but my brother-in-law will just cook up some chicken spaghetti on now. I think this year we're doing it December 22nd, but it's just what we do. We also have a non-spicy one for my aunt who really doesn't like the spice. So we do like one that has like nothing in it, and then one that's legit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We always do prime rib. That's what we go for.
Ooh,
with some horseradish, because I'm a big horseradish guy. So like pouring that on there too. But yeah, that's usually a Christmas go-to. That and just a crap ton of candy, and like candy, and then the chocolates, and then the like the why am I peanut brittle, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Oh yeah.
Peanut brittle. Yeah,
peanut brittle.
My grandma used to make fudge, like little squares for us, and it was only on Christmas. When we go see her on Thanksgiving, she'd be like, "No, that's a Christmas thing." And as a kid, I'd always like forget. But I love the little fudge. I can't hardly eat it as an adult; makes me sick. But when I was a kid, I loved it.
Yeah, no, fudge is good too. Listen, we're talking about food so much, I'm going to die of starvation over here. So
yeah,
Thanksgiving's tomorrow.
Yeah. By the way, Chef Lee, he asked about what's the reasoning for black-eyed peas on New Year's Day. It's a good luck thing. I don't know why, but that's it. Like, eat black-eyed peas on New Year's Day. It's good luck.
What are the sabermetrics on that? Like, do we think there's an actual I don't know. Like, is there a value to it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. Speaking of, I know it was off subject. I want to get this to Darren, because he also said, off subject, do us all a huge solid and make all your video content available in podcast form. Maximize the great content you guys create. Blessings. Well, appreciate that, Darren. I know that every day here at Inside Arkansas Live, we have it in podcast form. And some of the other video content. Our
post games are all podcasts.
Yeah, post games as well. Yeah, basically our live streams are all podcast form. But stay tuned on that, because once it comes to portal season, we're going to be putting out a lot of individual videos. Probably you see a little bit more on the podcast side in the audio form. But appreciate you bringing it up. But yeah, we're definitely out there in the podcast wavelengths.
If it's longer than like 10 minutes, it's usually on one of the podcast platforms, whether Pod of That Nature or Inside Arkansas Live.
Yep. Which, by the way, guys, did you know that YouTube just moved over to where now your shorts can be 3 minutes long?
That's
good.
That's good.
Yeah, just found that out today. So the more you know. But all right, guys. Well, any final thoughts before we wrap up here for the week on Inside Arkansas Live and get ready for Thanksgiving?
No. Drive safe to wherever you're going. You people and the people in the chat. And I'll see you tomorrow after the game.
Sounds great. And also for anybody that's wanting guy, we didn't cure your football fix. Don't you worry. Friday, after Arkansas beats Illinois in basketball on Thursday, there will be a pot of that nature episode available for you to watch as you're watching some football. And again, like John said, we will be back Saturday for the post-game show. Curtis is going to have a lot of great basketball content Thursday. Boots on the ground in KC. We may be, it's holiday season, but we ain't stopping.
Yeah. And we have a lot of content here in Inside Arkansas, folks. So be sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube as well as on social media at Inside Arkansas. You can also check out our great website at InsideArkansas.com for all the latest and greatest up-to-date information on the Razorbacks. And we're going to get out of here and leave you to it. So for Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel next Monday. Have a great Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there. We appreciate you. God bless. And enjoy your family time and eat a lot of food and watch a lot of great sports. We'll see you then.